Well, hi there, and welcome to Live Hang number 24. This is your buddy Dave over at MarsX3D, and we have a number of things to look at tonight, and glad to see we have a couple of people showing up. Welcome to Alan, and anyone else in the house? Not yet, but hey, that's okay. Trying out a new microphone tonight, starting to have some problems with my blue snowball. So I got a blue Yeti. I don't know why they're all blue, but that's somebody's favorite color. Anyway, hopefully I'm coming through 5x5 and you can hear me okay. And the very soft background music too. I don't know. But lots of goings on here in the People's Republic of Massachusetts. It's been bitter, bitter cold. Down to zero again. It's been below zero several times. 30 inches of snow, then another 6 or 7 inches, and that's February. Anywhere at this latitude, that's just February. So that's okay. We hunker down and we do the things that we love to do, and primarily among those, for me, are working on finding and producing and presenting anomalies from Mars. Non-fractal anomalies. Not your usual blurry, run-of-the-mill junk that everybody seems to get so excited about. And I've often wondered about that. You know, I'll post something that's just irrefutably intelligently made. Non-fractal all the way. And people will yawn or make smart aleck remarks. And then someone else will present something blurry and say, "Oh, look, it's a bird of paradise wearing a football helmet." And everyone goes, "Oh my gosh, spectacular find. This is proof beyond..." Well, okay. That's people, isn't it? That's just people. But I don't care. I just keep doing what I'm doing, and the body of the work speaks for itself. Let me see what we've got in the room. Hey, Don is here. Hi, Don. Welcome aboard, my friend. Always good to have you join the fray. And St. Louis, huh? Is that where you're at? St. Louis, Missouri? I'm surprised that it's even passable in St. Louis. I born and raised in Davenport, upriver from you, and also spent the last 10 years before I got remarried and moved out here to the People's Republic. And February was always a brutal month there. But we're used to it in Iowa. No big deal. And Tony DeVerne. Hey, Tony. How are you, my friend? Thank you for joining all the usual suspects. Robert Harbor. Well, I don't believe I've seen your name before, Robert. Welcome aboard. And you'll have to excuse us. We are a bunch of proud weirdos here. And because we know what we're looking at, and, you know, we don't take guff off of anybody. We're proud of what we find. We're proud of what we think. And by golly, we're just going to keep presenting it. And I see that my buddy Raymond Glassford is in the house. Yeah, I do too, Raymond. I see lots of blurry anomalies when I take off my glasses. Oh, boy. Getting old isn't for weaklings, is it? But, of course, I'm wearing my contacts tonight so you can see my beautiful eyes. Normally I wear glasses when I don't have to wear contacts. But I look rather severe and pedantic when I wear glasses. And I've often thought maybe I should wear some eye makeup when I wear contacts. Liven up my poor old pale eyes just a little bit. But then, who knows, I might get carried away and take it just one step too far, which is kind of the story of my life. Anyway, oh, look, Gentry Stanetti. Hi, Gentry. Thanks for coming aboard. And just using my other channel. Ah, Robert, inhabit Mars. Yes, sir. Thank you for all the work that you do. You know, anybody that attempts to produce a channel here on YouTube has got their hands full. Not only with just finding the stuff and producing it and making something that's presentable and entertaining to an 8th grade audience. And I don't mean that in a derogatory way. It's just that's the kind of a bullseye where you want to aim your stuff, because that's where most people kind of, their understanding of scientific things and unusual things is kind of at that level. And that's fine. So, Robert, thank you for what you do. I appreciate you, man. And, well, by golly, we've got everybody that we need here. So, let me tell you something. Oh, look, Alan is saying, hey, Dave. Hey, Dave, what? Type the rest of it, man. Come on. He's a little slow on the uptake. Oh, well, that's because of the lag. About a 45-second lag between what goes out over the air and what you get. So it's kind of tough sometimes to answer in stream. Okay, could you tell everyone I will be moving over to Odyssey soon? I will leave YouTube running. Okay, well, Alan is moving over to Odyssey, everyone. And bear in mind that I spent over 2 years, almost 2 years, away from YouTube and away from Facebook, trying to find any other venue that would work. And I tried them all. I've forgotten all their names, but I spent 2 years digging in and trying them all. Gab and Parler and Odyssey and MeWe and on and on and on and on and on, and none of them worked. None of them. And I finally had to put a clothespin over my nose and step back into the YouTube and Facebook sewer. Facebook, unfortunately, is still the best venue for my research, and so is YouTube. However, I am planning on getting my own website a little bit later on this year, a couple months, and gradually putting everything over there and doing live streams from there if I can, and kind of leaving YouTube in the dust. But I'm glad, Alan, that you're leaving your channel on YouTube. You have a lot of important things that you have done for the community, and I would truly hate to see that disappear into the sunset. Let me see what else we've got here. Alan won't be adding new content to YouTube. Okay. And thank you, Robert. Thanks for putting me in there with Chris and Jimmy. And I've got an announcement for you guys. Now that we got a few people here, let me see if I can't pull it up here and let you see what's in the works here. You ready? Ta-da! Easy Peasy X3D Part 1, which is creating your own gorgeous stereographic images. Hello, Salvatore. Very nice to hear from you, man. And this is going to be a 3-part tutorial. And what I'm going to do, there's been some new developments in online software where the average person can take any image and automatically create a 3D image. It can be a side-by-side, it can be a MP4 or a GIF, where it rotates or rocks back and forth, and you can control all the factors. It's very, very cool, and it's actually a very good piece of software. I had occasionally been using some software developed by Looking Glass to do a very minor portion of my 3D work, but found that it was not terribly reliable, and didn't do that good a job. And discovered that doing my own depth mapping was by far the preferable way. And I still love doing depth mapping. But this new software I'm going to share with you, it's free. You don't have to download anything. You can do it online. I can't believe it's available, and I can't believe they're not charging for it or that they haven't taken it off yet. But I'm going to be working on these tutorials this coming week, and in lieu of a video next week, I'll probably put up part 1 of the tutorial. And what we're going to do, we're going to be looking at the using this new software in part 1 and learning how to use Stereo Photo Maker. Very basic, nothing complicated. Going to show you how to create an X3D image and, very important, set the 3D window. In part 2 is going to go into depth. We're going to talk about clone brushing and some of the more so-called advanced things that you can do with Stereo Photo Maker, which again is a free software. It's a free download, nothing to pay for. It's a wonderful piece of work done by Masuji Suto. He's a friend of mine in the global 3D community and a brilliant computer scientist. So I'll be explaining all that. And then in part 3, we'll talk about cleaning up and finishing and 3D compositing. There are not a lot of people doing that. I think I'm the only one doing it, actually, as far as I know. But I'm going to show you everything that I do so that you can do it too. You know why? First of all, I'm not worried about the competition. I think competition's great, and I think the more people doing this, the better. The more X3D channels we get out there, the better. And plus, what I'm going to show you in parts 1, 2, and 3 are a basic course. And it gets infinitely more complex than that. Beyond that, there are lots of dips and dodges and tricks and hacks and workarounds and other things like that. So, but these are the basics, and if you watch these tutorials coming up before March, I think, you will be able to do what I do and create your own X3D videos, or if you wish, you can post your own X3D findings on MarsX3D The Evidence on Facebook. So that's just something I wanted to let you know about. Let me see what else we've got going on here. And anyway, the software is, I'm going to hold off telling anybody about it for now, Alan, and I'm not trying to be cute, okay? I just want to keep my powder dry for the tutorial so that everyone gets the same starting gun, so to speak. And it's a lot of fun. You'll have a ball doing it. Here's the cool thing, too. Not only can you do Mars anomalies, you can do any 2D photo or picture that you have. Family photos, things you find on the internet. You can create a beautiful X3D or side-by-side or GIF moving 3D with it. And they're really very good. Are they perfect? No. And they need fixing, and that's what the part 2 of the tutorial is going to take care of. And just reminded myself I'm going to turn off my phone so I don't get interrupted by all my fans clamoring to get a hold of me. Oh, and Sandra then. Hi, Sandra. And you're from the UK, so I know you're not always to come to the Hangouts, but I'm awfully glad that you made it. And Maria Pauly. Ta-da! Good to see ya. And Tony says, sounds great, but I'm too stupid. Listen, Tony, if I can do it, you can do it. Listen, I'm an old dodger. Okay, as what they term in the UK, I'm a boring old git. My digital skills are terrible. But I figured out how to do a couple of things. And the things I'm going to show you are very simple. Anybody can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. I'm not going to get technical. I'm not going to get complicated. I'm going to show you step by step exactly how to create beautiful 3D images in any format you want to present them in, really. If you want to do side-by-side stereo, that's fine. If you want to do anaglyph, you want to do interlaced format, if you want to do ocular riff, if you want to do, virtual reality, whatever you want to do. I'm going to show you how you can do this. It's super easy. And I think when most people discover now with this new software how easy it is, there's going to be an explosion. And I want you to be in on the ground floor and be the first ones to take advantage of it. Okay? And Raymond, you don't even have to download them. You can, of course, if you want. I have no problem with that. But they're going to be available, I hope, as long as YouTube doesn't kick my channel off the air. I think some of you have noticed that I added the join button now. So for those of you who, feel like supporting this work and you click the join button, you can choose the level you wish to function at, whether it's Proud Weirdo First Class, Proud Weirdo Ascension, or Proud Weirdo, I forgot the third class. I think it's Galactic Master. Well, I'll have to check and see. Maybe I'll add more classes. But it's, for less than a dime a day, 10 cents a day. You can help me out and I can keep the big ads off of here. But I've started running the small ads. I hate doing it, but got to keep the lights on, got to pay the bills. So anyway, that's enough talk. Let me show you once again what I'm talking about. And that is, this is a tutorial coming up in a week or two. Easy peasy X3D that anybody can do. And let me just show you something that I worked on this week. This has nothing to do with Mars and everything to do with weirdness. This is a painting, and I tried like crazy to find out who the artist was so I could credit him or her, but I had no luck. But I guarantee you that when you complete these 3 tutorials, you will be able to do this type of thing yourself. It's a ton of fun, and you'll get bit by the 3D bug just like I did. And so enough that. Let's go. And by the way, a quick reminder. If you were late coming in, if you came much past 5:35 Eastern Time, you need to put a quarter in the can by the door, that old coffee can. And at some point in time, I'll empty it out and buy Twizzlers. And I'll try to share them with everyone. Last time I ate them all myself, and I had a red mouth for 3 days. My wife thought it was cool, but I was a little embarrassed. Okay, just recently, I did an online interview with Gary Legier, the Mad Martian. And he sent me his processing of the face on Mars, which was just the 2D image. And that's why he's credited. That's why it says Mars Revealed. And this gives you an idea. Now this is obviously, it's an orbital image. So this is false 3D that's been assigned according to light and shadow. But you can see that collapsed portion on the right cheek of the face, the arcologies that Richard Hoagland pointed out so many years ago. And quite accurately, I might add, especially since he was dealing with low-res images. And even though they've done their darndest to make this look as unface-like as possible, still, it's quite non-practical, and it's quite compelling. Okay, let's dive into some more stuff, okay? Recently, I've started getting into going back to some of my older images and redoing the 3D on them. Mostly because my 3D and other processing skills have improved a good bit, at least I hope they have, in the last couple of years, 3, 4, 5 years. So I went back and kind of played around with some of these. And this one is what I call the Resistance. It's there inside the yellow target. And being a mass cam image, you know this is not that far away, and these items are fairly small. And here's my image that I did of it. Let's see, this would have been 3 or 4 years ago. And, you know, those really kind of look like rockets, don't they? Or look a rocket in front, maybe. And really, with what I had to work at the time, that's not too bad. Now here's an up-to-date version of it. And so I can't help but wondering, you know, if you look at that line of rocks in the background right, upper right, and how it's got those JPEG artifacts running across it, I can't help but think that maybe these are two slabs of rock that are just tilted up in the same direction as the other one, and that those are JPEG artifacts running across the edges, and they're not really rings on the front one. But I just don't know, to tell you the truth. Now, someone give me a clue here. Are you hearing me okay? I'm using a new microphone, and I want to be sure that it's dialed in the way it's supposed to be. Let's take a look at another one that I worked on from several years ago. And this is the new 3D on it. And this is an actual 3D that I cobbled off the mass cam. You can take the... Good, thank you, Don. Thanks for the feedback. You can take the left mass cam, crop it down to the same size of the right mass cam, blow it up, and combine them, and you'll have a nice stereo picture. Thank you, Tony. Thanks for the feedback. And, of course, you can't blow it up much because the left mass cam is really, really garbage. Thank you, Robert. Thanks for the feedback. So it's not something you want to blow up. So here's the 3D I did on this, I think 4 years ago. And you can see that it's kind of wonky. I mean, you can see what's there, but the stereo planes, there's some mismatching. There's some other stuff. You know, I let you guys see things warts and all. Because it is possible to improve given enough errors and time. So here's my upgrade of that I did. And that's a lot more clean and a lot more stereographically true. And of course, what we're looking at here, let's take a look at that left block, kind of curved and shaped. It looks like it's been shaped. It's got that nice U cut out. And on the lower right side, it's got a depression. On the upper side, it has a depression as well as a lip. And then the piece just to the right of that, in front of it, looks like a capstone that's been turned upside down. It's got notches out of the corner, markings on the bottom, and it looks like a square opening down below in the shade. It's a little hard to tell. And let me just read some of these comments from Against You Know. Well, Robert, let me add this too. There are no glasses made that allow you to see X3D. And I would strongly urge you to watch the howdy and how-to video on the video page intro, because it takes 7 minutes. It'll take you through a couple of different methods of learning to X3D view. It's very simple, and it's just training your eyes in a new way. See, you're already seeing 3D. You do it like a gangbuster all day long, every day, if you have two normal eyes, normal vision. So X3D is just moving your eyes a little bit differently, and you have the same terrific 3D vision. Anyway, talking about blocks, here's one that Rami found several years ago that I kind of like. Rami is always good for some interesting stuff, isn't he? And as you let your eyes play over this thing, especially on the right-hand side, and Robert says he tried it and it didn't work. Okay. The other thing you can do, Robert, is look at the back of your index finger and put it in the center line of the images and stare at the tip of your finger without looking at the images and bring it closer and closer and closer to your nose until you perceive 3 images in your peripheral vision. Then you just let your eyes drop into the center image and there's your magic window, just like that. Hey, Bill. Thanks for coming online, and he says, I don't miss a single episode. You're very kind, Bill. Thank you very much. And by the way, folks, if you happen to think of it, give things a thumbs up. You know, that's the coin of the realm. That's what pushes me into the algorithms that YouTube's inexplicable IT guys do. And helps me to get listed. I'm starting to appear in the video listings, much to my amazement. Anyway, look at that right side. That super clear right angle and edges and the scroll work and the other things. Now, when you guys take or study the 3-part tutorial, Easy Peasy X3D, you won't be able to do images like Rami's. Those are rather complex. It took me a while to figure out how to do them properly. But you can do any of the other images that I'm showing tonight. No problem. No problem. You're going to amaze yourself. I promise you, you're going to amaze yourself. It's so much fun, too, to take, for example, a selfie or take a picture of someone in the family or out on a walk or whatever and take it home and turn it into a really cool X3D image. Hard to believe. It used to be a super labor-intensive project, you know. It'd take hours and hours and hours of pixel shifting. Now those who know how to do it in Photoshop can do the pixel shift. I don't. But with this new software, you're going to be able to do it in moments. And it takes all the sweat out of it. Okay. Anyway, that's what I wanted to tell you about that. And let's move on to some more interesting blocks. Here's one that Rami pointed out this week. It's from Percy 203, and it's that beautiful block wall in the center there, and that overhang in the back. Thank you, Sandra. Thank you for the feedback. I'm glad you guys can hear me. And so let's zoom in on the wall. Have a look at, let's see, where are we at? You know, one of these days I'm going to figure out how to work this thing. I'll be really dangerous. Thank you, Bill. Thank you very much for your kind thumbs up. I really do appreciate it. Okay, let's see if I can get this to work. Okay, now let's zoom in on that block. And this is actual stereo off of the Percy Mastcam, the Z-Cam, which takes supposedly high-res 4K stereo color images. But look at the size of that block. That looks like the foundational stone, and then you've got those big, beautiful rectangular blocks on the side facing us and in the shadow. I don't believe those are natural cracks. Could it happen? Yeah. I suppose geologically there's a place you could point to it on Earth where something like that happens, but that sure looks like a wall to me. I mean, it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, has feathers like a duck, so it's a wall. And you're right, Raymond. I think the further that they go into the breach, where it breached the crater wall, and get out into the delta, I think we're going to find a treasure trove, and I think they're going to be redacting the fire out of everything. I think they're going to keep us from seeing what they don't want us to see. And then Rami also pointed out that overhang in the back, so let's move in on that. Now that's weird, isn't it? And yeah, Tony, it could be an archway that's filled in. And yeah, Robert, this does look like it's floating. Hey, Watchers Talk, my good friend Omar. How you doing, my friend? Welcome aboard. You joined late, and that means, Omar, you must put a quarter in the coffee can by the door, going to the General Twizzler Fund. And I'm the General. So, great to have you on board. Yeah, it does look like it's floating. What is that attached to? Seriously, what's that attached to? That's a nice chunk of rock, right? So that means it's attached to a bigger chunk of rock. Let's go back to the wall again. And yeah, Raymond, Raymond and Don, there's fake sand everywhere. That's kind of what we've come to expect, isn't it? From NASA. And one of the frustrating things is that as we get into, especially into the Percy images, they've been very highly redacted, as Alan will testify. He's an expert at removing the layers that they've put over it. I just focus on the non-fractal math, which they can't hide unless they completely, copy-paste sand over it. But when you look at these things in 3D, and by that I'm talking about the NavCam images and the HazCam, front and back HazCams, and on the Percy, I think there are a number of different cams that shoot stereo. It's funny because they'll redact those, but they'll mess up. And so you'll have a patch of sand floating in front of the where it's supposed to be. It's real obvious. And the same actually with the Curiosity mass cam images. If you take the time to boil those down to a 3D image, man, their obfuscation just jumps off the screen at you. It's so obvious. And yes, they really do think we're that stupid. And yeah, people, NASA's always erasing something with that sand, aren't they? But a lot of times the shape of the sand itself will give away what they've tried to cover up. But hey, be that as it may. I don't have a super ton of slides for this week's show. But let's go ahead and look at a few more of them, okay? You ready to go? Got your X3D eyes on? Here we go. Here's another one by Rami. Look at that great ball in the background. And it has kind of what looks like a wrench sticking out the bottom. Now, I have no idea. This is a Percy image. I don't know how big it is or how far away it is. And Raymond, you're right. They think everything they're doing is a clever ruse. And you never know, Omar. I mean, we know that there is standing and moving water and seeping water on Mars. But, most of the images that we have, Jimmy Roberts has what he believes are moving water, river. I've seen one small waterfall, and then I have one image of a standing pool. Actually, two images of a standing pool. Anyway, this is a Rami photo, and it reminded me of one that I found last year. Here's another ball with kind of a wrench coming out of it. And kind of an X-shaped piece of metal or something in there. I'm not sure what. Could that be, that ball just looks like it's been melted, doesn't it? It looks like it's been fused by tremendous heat. Maybe kind of rolled as a blob a little bit. And that one tool was kind of sticking out still. But as you look at the surface of that blob, you can kind of make out lines and features which might be other melted structures within it. And we found more than one wrench on Mars. Yeah, Robert, you talk about tire iron. I've got one coming up for you in a minute here. There's another one. Looks like a wrench sticking out of the left side of that rock. Is it actually a wrench or just a fortuitously shaped piece of erosion? And you're right, Omar, many of the things that we see Omar is over at Watchers Talk, by the way, a super channel. He interviews all the heavy hitters with certain exceptions, with me being one of them. And he did interview me. I'm just saying I'm not a heavy hitter like he gets all the time. But, he's got a lot going on over there. You need to check out his channel, his live page, his Facebook site, all worth checking in. And, but anyway, yeah, are they tools? I don't know. Here's another one another wrench. We're doing wrenches right now. It looks kind of like a pipe wrench, doesn't it? To my eyes. Now, again, is that an eroded piece of rock sticking up? Yeah, sure, it could be. Anyway, Omar, you're right. Many of these things that we find are a lot like the things we find at Pumapunku or Sacsayhuaman or, the various other locations where there's all kinds of megalithic structures, Tiwanaku and Coricancha. And that's what I was thinking, Robert, that wrench is back in the ball as part of that metal. So here's your tire iron, Robert, coming up, a bent and twisted one. This is an oppie shot, if I remember correctly. And that's very definitely a construct. And as you can see, if you let your eyes wander around a little bit, there's debris everywhere. You're welcome, Omar. And I'm glad to help out, man. Thank you for helping me out. I appreciate it. But you can see there's most of what you're looking at there is debris of some kind. And yeah, Omar, there's evidence of all kinds of tools and advanced technology in ancient Egypt, which I think they might have inherited from an even older civilization, that they didn't necessarily know how to make more of them or to keep them up. But who knows? And then we can't leave wrenches without going to this classic spirit image of the eel. Some people say it's a wrench. Some people say it's an eel. Yeah, right. An eel on the surface of Mars. Even if it just flopped out of the ocean, where's the ocean? And how to survive the freezing and desiccation and on and on and on and on. Now, is that headpiece, is that part of that band that climbs up the rock, or is it a separate piece? I don't know. And look at that piece to the right. Talk about suspicious. Half moon opening. I don't know. It just looks like some whole bunch of machinery that's just been absolutely fused. So here I am again, and I know how much you've missed me. I know if I don't get to look at my beautiful face more than a dozen or 2 times a day, I get a little bit depressed. So I can only imagine how you're dealing with it. Anyway, as you know, I have a silly side, probably too big of a silly side. But, you reach a certain age and life just isn't serious anymore. I see all the crap going on in the world and the things in the media, and, on one hand I shake my head, and on the other hand I just have to laugh. I'm living in the twilight zone. None of this stuff, I can't take any of this seriously. Even though I know it's serious and I know people are affected by it. I'm not disconnected from the suffering and the angst. So anyway, we're at the midpoint here, and we're going to take a little bit of a breather and come back and recycle all of the images. Thank you, Omar. We love you too, and we're delighted with what you do. Best of luck going forward with your 100 speakers. He's having 100 speakers for the spring solstice coming up in March. Now, that's going to be interesting. I get to be 1%. Okay. And glad to be it. I have no idea what I'm going to talk about as pertaining to the spring solstice. Although I might come in a druid costume, possibly. Of course, I'll wear my martial arts belt. Several of you know that I have a pink belt in Calypso, but I don't want to brag. So anyway, I was telling people about our upcoming tutorial series. Easy Peasy X3D Part 1. And yeah, Tony, the world's a mess. But you know what, brother? It always has been. It's just that what now in the information age and with digital media and phone cameras everywhere and the way things are, we're just way more aware of it. And but even with that, yeah, 125 speakers, Omar. Holy moly! I mean, that's a lot of people. Well, yeah, I can talk about Mars. I can gabble on about that. And I have no idea what Jessie McCormick means by her post she just put up there. Anyway, so this will be coming up in a week or so, and I'm going to take you, yes, I mean you, from zero to hero in 3 easy tutorials. Will this make you an expert? Nope. And I'm not an expert. Nope. You want a Photoshop expert, talk to Alan. But I make do. And I try to create things that are serviceable and will stand the test of time. Which, by the way, is why I'm going back and working on some of my older images and fixing them. Getting rid of some of the more embarrassing mistakes. So anyway, here's the, as we mentioned earlier, an image that Gary Legier did, a rendering of the face. I did the X3D, and he sent me the face so I could do the X3D for an appearance I made on his show, The Martian Revelation. And well, Sandra, that's an interesting point. Sandra says, I wonder if it was our species that lived on Mars, destroyed it, and colonized Earth, which we are slowly killing again. And I believe, yes and no to all of those. I think that we are our own ancient ancestors, our own ancient aliens, if you will, back in the distant past. I believe that we've had several high-tech cultures that have come and gone before us, that they emigrated to Mars, settled there, flourished, and then when Mars was attacked and wiped out, they had enough inkling of it for the elites to get away, make it to Earth, and establish both the Sumerian and the ancient Egyptian cultures. And I always like to point out, Cairo in the Coptic language means the place of Mars. Now, isn't that odd? What a coincidence. Yeah, I think this Jessie McCormick is a spam or something, spam artist. I don't know. And can you imagine how empty and hollow their lives must be to have to do that? And 9 times out of 10, the sites that go to are pornographic or just stupid or illegal in some fashion. So I'm going to give you a little clue. I agree, Tony. We don't come from a monkey. If we did, answer me this. Riddle me this, Batman. If we came from a monkey millions and millions and millions of years ago, why did the monkeys stop evolving? Why are they still monkeys? As a matter of fact, they find cockroaches in amber, identical to cockroaches today. How is it that cockroaches didn't develop bigger brains or learn to walk upright or any number of things? How come they didn't evolve? Evolution is a fairy tale that's told to adults. The real facts are much more interesting and much more quantum entangled than you might imagine. And we're not going to go into that tonight. But I was going to say, folks, if you get some of this spam, these trolls on YouTube, just go to their account, just click on their name, their icon, go under About, and you can click the flag, and then you can block them. So you go to their account, go to About, go to the flag, and click Block. And that's the end of those bozos, at least on your channel. And as I pointed out in this tutorial, we'll be teaching you'll be able to do work like this after you've completed all 3 tutorials. And they're easy and they're quick. They're not hour-long tutorials or anything like that. They're very, very simple, very quick, very straight to the point. Meat and potatoes, right? Meat and potatoes. Anyway, so as I mentioned a little bit earlier, I was going back to some of my older anomalies and redoing the X3D on them. I downloaded this one from the Analyst Notebook, the raw and the image files. And you're right, Alan. And in my opinion, the best way to ignore them is to block them and not give them an audience. Let them go find some other idiot. But anyway, hey, everybody, Granny's in the house, Amanda Becker. Welcome aboard, Granny. Big hugs from all of us. We're always glad when you can show it up, but I want to hear your quarter making its lovely music of remuneration in the empty coffee can by the door, if you please. You were late. I don't want to hear excuses. I want to hear your quarter going into that coffee can. So anyway, I processed this from the raw and image files using the tutorials that Alan was kind enough to share with us. And let me show you my original processing of this anomaly. And really not too bad, I think, for freehanding it 5 or 6 years ago. But there are things about it that I won't go into, technical things that I'm not real thrilled with. Oh, look, we got K. Brant Foster in the house. Good to see you, Brant. Thanks for showing up. And now, since this is your first time here, we will forgive you being late, and you don't need to drop the quarter in the coffee can by the door, as does everyone else who is late. That goes into the general Twizzler Fund, and as I like to remind you, not often enough, I'm the general. Amanda, you were working on your chickens? I kept chickens. For a long, long time, I was a chicken farmer. Not commercially. I'd run anywhere from 50 to 150 at a crack. Had a big chicken yard and big shack, coop, chicken coop. And boy, I loved my chickens. I sure wish I could have them here in the People's Republic, but there'd be someone there that would report them. Anyway, so this is my old... Amanda, I'm cutting you a break. Don't let on that you owe more than a quarter. I was cutting you a break there, girl. Anyway, that's my older rendition, and that was actually done freehand, which is really extremely difficult. Oh, cool. Amanda says, we got that many, 150 plus. Yeah, I was running, buffs and dominators and banties and, gosh, what else did I have? And your regular old white birds and some specialty birds. Golden Star, boy, she was a good brooder. I love my chickens. So anyway, here's what I did, which you may or may not like it better, but it's, from a 3D standpoint, it's a whole lot better than what you just looked at. And people who are 3D weirdos like myself would be able to pick out all the flaws in that last image. So I was saying earlier, we're in the recycle now, we're going through the images again, that we have these JPEG artifacts in the upper right. See them vertically against the edge of the rocks? And so I was wondering if these things that look like rockets, or at least the thing in front, might just be a slab of rock tilted sideways and with JPEG artifacts along it. But I guess what's a little bit puzzling to me is, why are the artifacts perpendicular to on the rocket-shaped thing, and then see the square base beneath it? Why are they perpendicular to the base? Why don't they all run in the same direction, like the ones on the cliff behind and the ones on the cliff in front, the rocks in front? Huh? How come? Yeah, you got that right, Amanda. Chickens, their companionship, their meat, their feathers, and they're just a great, great hobby. What a lot of you don't know, that I had built a chicken tractor. And a chicken tractor, while I'm talking about the chicken tractor, we'll go over to this next one, these two rocks that I wanted to show you. This is a new one, processed from directly from the Analyst Notebook raw files. And it's there inside the green target. But, you build basically a rolling chicken coop. About 8 feet long, 3 feet square maybe. Put some wheels on it towards the front end. Handles on the back, chicken wire. And a door, and you put all your chickens in there. And you roll it over to wherever your garden is, or wherever you want them to do their work, and they will dig up and fertilize and get that patch of ground all ready for you, free of charge, while eating bugs, making eggs, and getting nice and fat. And then when they've done with that section of ground, you just move your chicken tractor to the next place and let them go to work again. Cool, huh? If I'd known we were going to be talking about chicken tractors, I'd have gotten a picture of one to show you. Well, yeah, Amanda, they are survival food, but sadly in a survival situation, people aren't going to recognize property lines. They're going to be desperate and hungry. And things are going to get out of control real fast. That said, yes, if I had the money, I would invest in one of those commercial freeze dryers that they've made for home use. I've forgotten what they're called, but you can Google it. And they're expensive. They're like $3 or $4 grand, I think. But you can take anything, your chicken, meat, hamburger, fruit, vegetables, anything. Freeze dry it, vacuum seal it in a pouch, and that's 25 years worth of keeping right there. And you can stash those in your hidey hole. As long as you have a source of clean water and heat, even without the heat, you can reconstitute that stuff and eat very well. Anyway, we're talking about the 2 blocks inside the green Target. And this was my rendition of it 4 years ago. And again, this was freehand, and that's loaded with all kinds of snarfy stuff that makes me cringe today. Good, Amanda. I'm glad to hear that. And riddle me this, Amanda. Are you anywhere near? I'm not going to ask you where you live, but are you anywhere near Ocoee, Florida? Because if you do, it sounds like you have your head on straight. You've got your property, you've got your firepower, you've got your isolation. All of those things count. And I've got a friend in Ocoee that you need to hook up with if you're close by. He and his wife have property, and they're some of the best people that I know on the planet. They grow all their own stuff, and they're super, super people. So anyway, here is my attempt at freehanding 3D 4 years ago. Done from a Gigapan, if I recall. And here's what it looks like nowadays. Not as colorful, of course, but a whole lot more accurate near it's a whole lot more accurate from the stereoscopic point of view, and presents an image that's within percentage points of what you would actually see if you were standing there on the surface. Jessica says we can start now. Thank you, Jessica. You're making it in the last little portion of the show, but I'm sure glad you showed up. But let me hear your quarter drop into the coffee can by the side of the door. Okay, near Fort Myers. Okay, that's a good place to be. I like the Fort Myers area. Anyway, that's what that looks like. And yeah, these could be metal, and we've got, you can see for yourself, it's got recessed square and rectangular areas on both blocks, notches cut out, curves, and a square door in the shade on the one in front. That one in front looks like a capstone or pyramidion that's capsized into the sand, a capsized capstone. And you're right, Jessica. Things have been melted. So here's one by Rami that he did a couple years back, and that I just created the X3D on. These things are a bit of a handful to do, but they're a fun challenge. And you guys are all proud weirdos. You know that as you look at the right hand and move your eyes right and left as you sweep this thing. That you can see all the non-fractal angles and curlicues and other stuff that just shouts suspicious activity. And while we're at it, I'll come back for a moment or two, and because I know how you miss me when I'm gone. I do too. But we've had a couple of people join us in the last few minutes. And Tony, that's a really good point. Does anyone actually confront NASA with these images? Yes, all of us have. And all of us have been firmly either rebuffed or just totally ignored. And they have an agenda, and it's a mandate that comes down from above national security. And all of the nations adhere to this obfuscation and classification critter that we find ourselves in, and nothing we can do about it. We try to show them, and they're not interested. Or they say we're crazy. We're UFO hunters. They always say that. If you show them an anomaly, they call you a UFO hunters. It's like, excuse me, I wasn't looking for a UFO. And as a matter of fact, I'm not a UFO hunter. How about that? But it seems to me the way of science is to look at the evidence and make up your own mind. That's why I, as a citizen scientist, named this channel The Evidence. I can speculate about what things might be, and sometimes I might even misspeak and step over the line and tell you what I think something is, but you know what? You're the judge. You're the one who decides whether this is worth looking at or not. If you were in control of the rover or the cameras or other mission parameters, and you had the opportunity, there's that word, opportunity rover, and even were possessed by the spirit, there's another one, and had the curiosity, another one, to go over and look at something. Wouldn't you do that? But you wouldn't. If your boss says, stay away from it, just keep moving, stay to the mission parameters that the engineers have plotted for you, and shut up. You point something out like this again, and you'll be looking for a job. That's all it takes. That's all it takes. They need a job too, They got bills to pay. They're not the enemy. Anyway, Jessica says, I'll try, but I'm not good at the rover. The internet stuff can't even change this name. It's my wife's. I'm just the husband. Oh, Jessica. Well, that's kind of compelling and evocative to think of you as a guy and call you Jessica. You can share your name with us if you wish. You don't have to. It's fine. I kind of like calling you Jessica. Let's see what some of these other comments are. Free thinkers, yeah. Yeah, Robert, it's true. It's true. I gave up trying to send anybody anything. If you get a response at all, it's one that says, yeah, you need to get a life. Go get a job. Climb out of mommy's basement. Or something along those lines. And a little aggravating. Okay. Let's finish up with our final images. And that would include, we were looking at Rami's block there. And then we're looking at another one that Rami found. I'm so easily confused now. Which is this lovely wall in the purple era and that overhang with the magenta arrow and back. And we'll move in a little bit on the wall, and boy, isn't that nice and clean. That's the Percy Z-Cam stereo camera. Look at those blocks. They're all nice and rectangular and even. The gigantic block on top of it that looks like it's been shaped at the top, maybe even cut. Was it a battlement? Who knows? Yeah, you always get a wiseacre. So he says, David, my friends call me Jessica's husband. Okay, Jessica's husband. I want to be your friend, so I'll call you Jessica's husband anytime I see her name come up. Will that work for you? That'll work for me. Anyway, that's really does indeed look like a wall, doesn't it? A pretty hefty one. That's maybe 5 or 6 feet tall, I would think. And I took this right off of the first one, not this one, off of the NASA website. And I did my own cleanup on it. Thanks, Amanda. Yeah, and we're going to talk about that floating rock right here, Robert, and that's that overhang. What in the world's going on with that? Isn't that weird? That's just strange. Could it happen geologically? Could it just be an undercut piece of rock where the mud base eroded out from under it? Yeah, I suppose it could happen. But, you know, who knows for sure? Here's another one of Rami's that he found. And that ball up there. Doesn't that ball look like a piece of fossilized coral? I was trying to think where I've seen that pattern before, and it's fossilized coral, isn't it? Maybe I'll throw up a inset of fossilized coral inside of that. Gotta go, Tony. I'm sorry that you have to go. Thanks again for showing up. You're a proud weirdo. We'll see you for the next one. So anyway, see that kind of wrench coming out of the bottom? There's another one I found that has a wrench coming out of the bottom. And here's another rock with a wrench coming out of the bottom. And here's another one with a rock with a wrench sticking out of it. That might be a rock too, I don't know. But then here's this one from Oppie. You've got that crowbar in the center there and debris field all around you. And of course, this little dandy from Spirit 527. Classic shot. Everyone's seen it before. It's been a lot of argument about it. But when I presented it, I forget which video I presented it in. That everyone ignores the rocks around it, and there are what I believe to be fused pieces of metal all around it, like that one right to the right of this eel that we're calling. Does that not look like melted metal to you? Anyway, that's our hang for the evening. We've had a good time checking out some things, and had some good remarks, some good comments, some good talking. I wish it was more two-way than that. And but folks, we all know that they're hiding stuff like crazy in these images. We've proven that beyond a shadow of a doubt. And it's so stupid. It's like, get over it. Just show us what's there. Let us deal with it, okay? And move on. So we're not alone in the universe. Religion is not going to collapse. Society is not going to collapse. The financial markets are not going to collapse. People are going to go, oh, cool. We kind of knew that already, didn't we? Oh, cool. I wonder if there's a global economy we can take part in. Is there trade? Well, see, this is why they're keeping it all hush-hush, I believe, because there is trade. But it ain't in the Little Debbie snack cakes, okay? Not something I want to talk about here. Anyway, thank you very much, every one of you, for coming tonight, for being part of the whole Proud Weirdo thing. Give us a like on the way out, if you will. If you feel like joining and helping out, that's great. If not, that's great too. I still love you, and you're still a proud weirdo. So y'all stay peaceful, stay weird, stay safe. This is your buddy Dave over at MarsX3D. Bye for now.